got the question if the performance from yesterday was set in any sense, or if it was just improvised. And I told this guy that the only thing that we set was the meeting, that we were walking towards each other and looking in each other's eyes. That was basically the frame that we gave to the performance. And then also that, we know each other quite well, so it was all improvised, but we are partners in dance, so there is we have the communication going between us. But the dance that we developed was part of our listening and part of the influence of the musicians. I think one important ingredient yesterday was also that the musicians are so attentive, so they were not really sitting there with a set structure of music. They were also composing, creating in the moment, and I felt a lot of support in the back coming from them, because they had their eyes and their ears open and added things or took away things or catched our dynamic, saw how we catch their dynamic. Especially at this point in the end where we did a bit of a pause and they took down the music and you were waiting until you did something quick and reacted and went out in the space, and they catched it, and took it to the next level.
Yeah, it's called improvisation, and I enjoy to allow to be in that place of not knowing, and somehow, but we are so familiar with this not knowing place that then it looks very fluent and serene somehow, and very you can feel a state of presence, I guess, from outside. And there is not a wandering mind, what I will do next, because the mind is not wandering, but the mind is at peace inside the body and with this time, with the pose, with the crescendo, with the slow tempo, so I think it's organic.
We don't know what will happen, and I think the audience also sits there with the feeling that there is not this set structure and we're going to entertain them and it follows certain sequences. So they don't know what's going to happen, and that's also the feedback they give. They become attentive because they feel that we are attentive. We are listening to ourselves and being all present in the body, and they receive this attentiveness, the listening, that actually next second is new.
My experience of dancing is is based on a state of presence. It means that the mind is not active with the thinking activity, So the mind is very present in the sense that attention is really 100% there. That's also what I love about the dance, and what I also enhance in my teaching. And
But the mind is not sleeping.
yeah, the mind is not sleeping, so it's not like sliding into an unconscious river of energy, but it's rather really being present. So the attention is fully awake, and it's not just awake here, but it's awake inside the body. It's awake in my hands, it's awake in my spine, it's awake in my feet. And while I dance and while I move, it's like if my attention is scanning, entering, traveling between different parts of my body. And I have all this feedback from the body, from the breathing, from the earth. And then I may catch something outside, and this impulse is coming into my body is reacting to it, or is maybe is inspired by it, and then he make an action.
I think also for me in the performance, these moments when we were very quick, either lifting, turning, or spinning, or working with a quicker pulse or rhythm in the space, I felt the time being very slow also in these moments. So I think for me, the listening I have inside, like between my bones and my soft parts, and then it's the same listening towards you, and it's so subtle, so it's not really dependent on time and speed.
There is no time to think or to wonder. There is really like this open perception at many levels that is receiving information, and there is an action, but there can be also like the intention from the mind of stillness. Okay, I pause. In fact, I pause. And there is silence. And then something happens, I can just catch it like this, and there is another action. Like if I open a door inside, and then things start to come out, and my body is simply manifesting what is rising up. And for me this is a very specific channel that I can intentionally open. So I can say, okay, the dance is from inside, and I open this door and allow material to come, and normally I find myself in an imaginary world where my body meets creature, meets maybe all the continents, and without me choosing it, really. And then there can be another source for me is physical, so I can also say, okay, all the dance come from the physical realm, and I think it's one of the key of contact improvisation, that is really body to body, talking and receiving information from the physical structure. And then there is something that comes from outside. So I can let information from the surrounding coming to me, and then becoming dance again. So I become a sponge.
But I think I also use my imagination there, like creating landscapes, creating imaginary worlds quite consciously in the interaction. Deciding how the landscape looks, and then deciding how I can enter it or how I respond. So it's a similar space as the first you mentioned, but very consciously created. And I feel that in there also humor can come in very easily, like seeing postures or situations and then coming in and using them.
element of intuition where the knowing and unknowing are married somehow. There is not even division, because intuition, it's there. There is even not wondering or not wondering, is there. So through intuition, I act and I relate to you. Imagine when we are very fast spinning into each other and I don't see you, and you did something with intuition is this door that allow me to know where you are and jump, take risk. Yeah,
I think in intuition and perception, that all your senses are actually open in all directions, especially the skin. All the layer of the skin is totally open also in the backside. So you actually sense and know where I am, even if there is speed or there is not a visual connection. Sounds, the ears are more open. So I think our senses are really woken up, active and reaching out. It can reach out to you, it reach out to the musicians, but it also reach out to space and the audience. So that can be the smallest space in between us and the big space where we let information come in and transform into dance and movement. That we all have dance, we all have this creativity of being active, dancing when we walk, when we work, when we travel, we can always have this creative presence in the body, which invites actually anyone to be a dancer and to dance together. And maybe I enter the room for the first time, or I danced for 20 years, but we meet here and now, and we are actually creating together.
And we are the same. Like, that's the beauty also. Like, it's not how much experienced dancer you are. When you are in a meeting of improvisation, you are there. That means no more than less than anyone else. So I think also the sense of togetherness is also like a big gift of the practice of togetherness and equality.